Warning: if you are sensitive to the following subjects, abandonment, drug use, suicide, violence, and oppression, click away immediately. Viewer discretion is advised. PaRappa the Rapper. Even if you've never listened to him, you've most likely heard his name before. From his humble beginnings as a stray dog left on the streets, to a drug-addicted, washed-up artist that people forgot, this video will document the disturbing downfall of PaRappa the Rapper. PaRappa the Rapper was born on March 10, 1980 to a poor family who couldn't afford to keep him. He explained in a 2001 interview with XXL magazine that he doesn't have any memories living with his parents and he was kicked out of the house at a young age with nowhere to go. He lived a very rough childhood on the streets of PaRappa Town, a small town in Japan known for its high crime rates. Since PaRappa was just a kid at the time, he wasn't able to get a job, so for most of his early life he had to fight and steal to get food. But that was until he was 13 years old and tried to steal from a man named Chop Chop Master Onion. Instead of trying to fight PaRappa, Master Onion knew that he wasn't safe on the streets, so he let PaRappa the Rapper stay in his dojo for free. Although Master Onion had kids of his own, they sadly passed away before they were able to give him the grandkids that he's always wanted. With PaRappa needing a family and a roof to live under, and Master Onion needing someone to pass his dojo to when he died, he adopted PaRappa as his son when he was 15 years old. Along with teaching him karate, he also introduced PaRappa to a new style of music, American hip-hop. PaRappa related to the lyrics of Tupac, Notorious Big, and Snoop Dogg. As he became influenced by hip-hop, he started to write his own music about his life on the streets, and after working with Master Onion, he created his first song, Chop Kick Punch, in 1995 when he was only 15 years old. The song wasn't successful, although he did make an estimated 50 cassette tapes that he sold in his local town. Most of the cassette tapes survive to this day and are highly sought after, commanding thousands of dollars on eBay. A few months after making his first single, he created his first album, PaRappa the Rapper. The album was an instant success, selling over 700,000 copies with songs like Instructor Mussolini's Rap, Cheap Cheap the Cooking Chicken's Rap, and most importantly, Funny Love, Sunny Song. But why is this song so important? Well, it introduced PaRappa's girlfriend, Sunny Funny. Sunny knew PaRappa ever since he made his first single, and they started dating in 1995. With the success of his first album, PaRappa moved out of Master Onion's dojo and into a luxury apartment in Los Angeles. Even though he was only 15 at the time, he was already making songs with Tupac, with their most popular song standing at 450 million views. Within 2 years, he went from a stray dog living on the streets to a famous rapper making millions of dollars and selling out every tour he did. This was the highest point of his career. After living on the streets for most of his life, he finally had money. He no longer had to worry about financial issues, and he was able to fully remodel Master Onion's dojo. Most of his fans remember his live performances. With PaRappa's aggressive style of rap, his shows often formed deadly mosh pits. His most iconic show was in his 1996 performance in the Noodlepalooza Music Festival, when a 3,000-person mosh pit formed with over 2,000 injuries and a death count in the hundreds. Although everything seemed fine on the outside, cracks in his life started forming. He started trying cocaine for the first time when he was 17 years old. He kept his addiction under control at first, and he was able to keep his secret from the public and Sunny Funny. After the drugs started, he started to act more and more irresponsible with his money as he bought multiple supercars, a $10 million luxury home in LA, and he spent over $500,000 on jewelry. Within 3 years, he blew through most of his money. He couldn't just spend less money, as he underestimated how much he would make from his first album, and he still owed millions of dollars because he bought most of his assets on loans. Even his concerts weren't selling out like they used to. In order to try and make enough money, he released his second album, PaRappa the Rapper 2, in 2002. This album only sold around 200,000 copies. Although it was still a commercial success, the audience hated it. When PaRappa released his first album, people could tell that it came from a place of genuine passion for music and that he put his heart and soul into the lyrics. PaRappa wasn't just a rapper. He was a role model that showed everybody that no matter how hard your life is, you can turn it around and become someone people can look up to. But after PaRappa the Rapper 2 released, his audience could tell that he no longer cared about music and that he only cared about money. His lyrics went from how he lived on the streets and how he stayed positive even in the darkest moments, to soulless lines about drugs and women. It sold a lot less than his self-titled one, and it caused his career to sharply decline. PaRappa didn't make any more music after that. He sold all of his cars and jewelry and bought a more modest house that he and Sunny lived in for a few years. Life was going well for him. He stopped taking drugs, his relationship with Sunny Funny was going well, and they were able to live their lives off of the money that he made at the peak of his career. But that was until one tragic day on May 15th, 2006. He got a call from Chop Chop Master Onion, and he said that he only had 2 months left to live because he had a lot of gay sex and he got rectal cancer and AIDS. This shocked PaRappa, and he fell into a deep depression. Master Onion meant everything to him. He was around when nobody else knew who PaRappa the Rapper was. Sunny Funny reported that he wouldn't eat for days on end, and that the only time he would talk to her was when he would yell at her in a drunken rage. As much as Sunny Funny loved PaRappa, it got to a point where she couldn't stand him anymore. She couldn't deal with him drowning himself in alcohol every night and not being able to move on from his glory days. Now that PaRappa was alone, he couldn't deal with life anymore. He had many unresolved issues dealing with abandonment, anxiety, and depression, along with a lack of purpose in life. He couldn't get a job because he didn't have anything past a middle school education and struggled with multiple mental health issues. He started taking heroin in 2008, and it ruined his life even further as his drug addiction came back just as powerful as it had been in 1997. He had a couple $1 million to his name at the time he got the news about Master Onion, but within 3 years of his heroin addiction, he lost everything. In the end, on April 8, 2011, PaRappa the Rapper was found with a Remington Model 11 20-gauge shotgun across his body, with a visible gunshot wound to his head. This was devastating news to the world. PaRappa was an inspiration to tens of millions of people who grew up with him, and his influence on modern music will never be forgotten. Even if he isn't alive today, he will always be remembered as one of the most influential artists to ever live.